Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show, and this is another day. This is Friday, and we're excited. The 6th of November, and it's the first Friday of the month, and we are excited to be alive and to be here with you today. And of course, we normally used to say this that as you join us on the show, please do let us know where you're joining us from, where you're connecting from, where you're streaming from, and let us know your name, your location, and of course, if it's your first time, let us also know. So we recognize and acknowledge you. It's such a great opportunity to learn and share together, to be together, to hear from each other. And on the Good Morning Education Show, we always are excited to hear from you. So please do not hesitate to ask questions if you do have questions, and of course, please do not hesitate also to contribute. I'd like to welcome our guest analyst in the studio. KK, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Rotimi. Good morning,
Good day.
everyone. It's amazing being here. I
Great
missed
to
the
see
show.
you. Great to see you. So you partied without me, KK.
Was there a party? I don't remember there being a party. I only remember work, lots of work.
Social media showed me the party work that you were doing.
Oh, the staff party. See, I've even forgotten about the party with the work that
Can you
followed
imagine?
after.
And you came to my neighborhood under my nose.
Where Ojodu?
No, the party now you went phase one, went you?
Lucky one. Can you imagine? I didn't know that.
See? Titi, good morning, Titi. How are you today?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good
Hi,
morning. Good morning. Good
Titi.
morning.
This is not the voice I
PCP.
was hearing yesterday on IG Live, Titi.
Sorry. Oh, good morning, PCP. PCP cousin.
So Titi has
Oh,
officially said no to being a superwoman.
yes, she
I said
has.
that one since.
Let the feminist movement come for you.
Ah, it's just the truth, You just have to. How will I say it? You just have to realize you need help. You can't do things all by yourself,
Mm-mm.
uh, and that's
I
the
agree.
truth.
Speaking about, yeah. So speaking about not being able to do it all by yourself, um, our topic today is probably going to also address conversations around that. And if you're just joining us, this is the Good Morning Education Show. We'd like to welcome you. We thank you for joining, and we're streaming to you all across the world. And I'm sure that it's such a great thing to have you here. Um, we're talking about what's your target, and a question that follows up the conversation of preparation of the year for the year. I believe that a target is a good place to make things a bit more specific. I believe people make targets based on different reasons, but there's a reason for us to talk about this so that we also ensure that no one is left with any form of excuses as regards the approach of their pursuit, the things that they do across the year. So that's what we're talking about today. And maybe we'll start with Titi. Titi, have you got a target for the year? Have you got a target for the things you do? What's the fuss about a target? What does a target do for one? Are there benefits? Is there a rule of thumb? Must we all have a target? Please, over to you, Titi.
I will start by saying that I think we need to have a target. In anything that you're doing, you need to have a goal. For me, a target is like a goal. You need to have a goal. It guides your activities. It helps you to prioritize. It helps you to focus. And those are the things that allow you succeed. Um, I remember reading a bit about Michael Phelps, one of the greatest swimmers. And from a young age, he had given himself a target. He had given himself a target of saying, I want to swim this fast. I want to swim this fast. And then he started working on his target. So for me, a target is important because it allows you to focus. It allows you to know what the destination is, and then keep asking yourself, are all the things that I'm doing now helping towards my my goal? So I think it's important for everybody to have a goal and a target. If you don't, you just find yourself being tossed to and fro by every wind that comes your way. So, if you're an educator, what's your target? Your target for this month, your target for this year, your target for 2021, because you need to plan everything that you are doing along that target. So let's say your target is to, earn more. So you have to break it down. What do you need to do to earn more? If your current job is helping you earn, have you seen a job that's going to help you earn more? What do you need to do to get to that job? What skills do you need to update? Who do you need to connect with? So targets are very important. Most people don't have targets, which is why at the end they can't really say what they've achieved. But you need to have a target, and a target is not just at your work everything. Like we have target for our weight, how our weight target. So I want to lose this amount of weight in the next. Oh my goodness! So that's what I would say. Targets are really very important, and everyone should have the various aspects of their life.
Interesting. I like that. Targets are not limited to just work. Target is a goal, or is a goal-like approach to anything that is meaningful that you want to do. And this is a call for everyone to know that it's not just a cliche thing. We must be purposeful about having targets. So, KK, you've heard TT, but I know that you also would like to say something when it comes to target. And when we ask people, or when we ask ourselves that question, what should really come to our mind? KK, are you there?
So sorry, my mic was muted. So yeah, when you talk target, like when you talk targets, you're thinking about it's a full point, right? I mean, two examples come to my head. The first one is when you're playing target, that game where you throw. If there's red dot not there, you honestly we throw it everywhere, right? And then everybody's just throwing the dart with no particular aim in mind. You're just throwing dart. That's the thing that comes to mind. The second one is like it's a tap, right? When you turn on that tap, water in the pipe, the water in the pipe is suddenly towards coming out of that pipe. If not, it's a mess. If the water just flows everywhere, think about a burst pipe. It doesn't have a target anymore. It's just all over the place. But once that pipe has been streamlined and you turn on the tap, the water flushes out. It meets the needs for which it has been, for which that purpose was created. So yeah, that's how I see targets. The focal point for your passions, your actions, your money, your conversations, everything, really, which is why, as he said, targets are not it's about everything, really. And if you have the right target, then it is more than thank you. Yes, I am.
All right. So, what would you say? When you said the dots, it gives me that idea of when we talk about the bull's eye. looking at the bull's eye, meaning that yes, there's a target, but there is this center, almost like saying you want to hit the core. So in setting targets, what's the representation of the core, right? How do I know that my target is not just a business goal? What should that core reflect?
So let me use education as an example. So if you use education as an example, when you teach, right, you have something that is called threshold concept. When you hit a threshold concept, you start understanding, it compels you to come to the next thing. Once you understand that division is repeated subtraction, it doesn't matter where you see division, you understand that when you are dividing, the numbers are reducing. So that's like a call using a threshold concept as an example. So it's the same thing, right? Once you understand your target, it kind of it brings everything into sharp focus. It's like an anchor for everything else you're doing. Your target anchors the rest of your goals. So all that effort on that target, when you throw it, what are you looking at? You're looking at that midpoint. But the reality is that some people start from the outer rings and then they walk themselves in.
Oh, right, it's almost 50.
Okay, so I like that.
That was
So let's put it this way, and probably I'll ask Titi as well. When we now take a step further to look at setting to hit a target, still on that illustration, is it possible to identify how we can, take our eyes off distraction? Because I know that one of the major elements in setting targets is the power of focus. So Titi, please, could you just help educate us on that place of focus? How do we as educators, education professionals, experts in the learning space, how do we begin to focus? Because sometimes we do a lot of things out of impulse and not necessarily out of focus. So what's your thought about that?
I think that distractions are something that are constant. Distractions are constant. Whether you like it or not, people will always bring things that distract you. So let's say you are going to the north, someone will always come and give you an idea that will take you south. So one of the things that I find that helps is that thing of saying, always putting your target in front of you and having a policy that anything that doesn't is not in line with my focus, my answer to it is no. And you find that it allows you to sieve through a lot of options, aka distraction that life brings your way. So take for instance, and I find it's the same thing with everything we do. Oh, I want to do something. I'm doing something with concerning education, learning, and games. People will come and say, "Oh, they want to decorate their class. Is this something I can help them do?" Oh, they might even want to give you offer you money for it. It's like, wow, should I be doing that? But you need to go back and say, okay, this is my goal. My goal is in this area. This thing is not really my goal. So my answer really should be no. That is so important, to say to yourself, this is my target. If the activity is not related to my target and taking me closer to this, then my answer is no. I think once you can do that, it makes it easier to handle distraction, because distractions will always come. Distractions will always come, but it's important that use your goal, to be the filter for the distractions that come. They would always come, and it's not they will come seasonally. It actually comes every day. It's the same thing when you sit down in your office to do things. You have emails, you have phone calls, you have, people wanting to come to gist, all those things all constitute distractions every day. But you need to tell yourself that, you know what, emails, I won't open emails to so time. Phone calls, as much as possible, I'll take as soon time, unless there are emergencies. Those are all distractions. So you need to limit distractions. You need to the one of the things of time management is, it says focus on your big goal first. Every other thing should be secondary. So if you had to share your time every day, what is your big goal? That should be the first thing you should attack at your most productive time. So for some people, their most productive time is in the morning. For some other people, their most productive time is in the evening. Attack your big goal first, the one that makes the most impact. Attack that first. And then all the other things, be treating them as how are they important to your big goals. There are some things that you need to delegate. There are some things that they don't really, you need to do them, but they don't have very great impact, which means that it doesn't have to be you in particular doing it. Those kind of things, try and look at how to delegate them. Focus on the one or two things that leads you to achieving your target.
Thank you so much. You actually you raised a valid point where most times people find that difficult aspect of how do we get to identify two things out of many things. There are times because of society, because of the economy, because of also scarcity, you are turning between many options. And these options are juicy and attractive. Sometimes they are income attraction as well. So how do we set that mark of no to many, no to more? What is that balance?
Is that question for myself or Kiki?
For you
For you.
and Kiki.
Cause let my call start.
Okay, when you it's a tough one, to be honest with you, but if your eye is always on the ball, then it makes it easier, right? So there are times, so I'll use myself as an example. When I started education, first of all, I didn't even think I was going to get into education, but then I did. And whilst I was there, I realized that there's so many other things that I can do, right? Why am I just limiting myself to education? And then I started to branch out a little. But then I realized that, like Titi said yesterday on the Instagram live, you can do it all, but you cannot do it all at the same time on the same day. And that just struck me, and I said, okay, you know what, Keke, you can't do it all at the same time on the same day. So I asked myself, and I was having a conversation with Bimbo Gundere, maybe that was about 3 years ago or 4 years ago. And she said, Keke, I had to find my 70%. I had to ask myself, what is that, my 70, 80% that pulls me in, that opens the doors for me, that ensures that I have a focus? All the others are 20%, right? Because you are running around trying to make them work, but you already have this one major goal that you should be looking at. And that's something I said to myself. I asked myself, I said, Kiki, what's your 70%? And I did. So that for me is like my big content area. That's like my bucket, right? From that bucket, I can now fetch into different other areas. So I'm an educator. I run a school. I'm an educational entrepreneur. However, it doesn't mean that I cannot teach you how to manage your finances. I can teach you how to run your administration. I can teach you about culture. So in avoiding distraction and focusing on those big goals, you need to ask yourself, what is your 70%? What is your 80%? What is that one thing that would push you towards that goal? Even if you take a very tiny bit of step, doing it every single day, you're going to have to ask yourself that question. And if you can ask yourself that question and answer that question, then you are in the right place. If not, those distractions, it's like a is this side hobby, they call it, side hustle. Your side hustle you now realize that that's really what I want to do, but you've relegated it to a side hustle because you haven't really answered the question of what exactly are you able to do? What exactly do you want to do? What is in your future? If you rubbed that crystal ball, what would come out of it? And then look at all the other things that you have around you. Do they actually move you towards that big, bold, hairy, audacious goal? Does it move you towards that target that you have set for yourself? And I would like to mention here that targets change, right? Your goal is your goal, okay? But my target could be to pass the ball to Titi so that Titi can score in that goal. So you need to ask yourself, what is the big idea here? What is that main big idea here? And then what are the little steps that I need to take every day? So for me, right, and I think the banking industry kind of comes to mind when I think about your targets and the goal. The goal of the bank is to make 1 trillion naira. But then it then breaks that into tiny targets for everybody to achieve. So I need to be looking at my target and understanding what the big goal is. And understanding that if I don't meet these targets, I will not get to the goal, right? So if you have that on the front burner, it's easier, and I'm not going to say easy, it's easier to let go of distractions. It's easier to say no to certain things, right? But then I typically never say no, I say not yet. All right, I said to myself, I say not yet. I will say no to it. I would say not yet. And so I would give myself a chance and say, okay, if I'm able to do these things, which is what Titi said, what are those prominent goals? What are my priority? My 1, 2, 3 things I must do in furtherance to that big goal. And so I set those as my 1, 2, 3 targets every day, or for a week, or for a month, however way I need in terms of timeline to get it done. And I then plan my day around those areas. And then if I have any extra time, I can say to myself, do I want to sleep more, or do I want to do this work? Based on that, I can then move forward. But without discipline, you would fall for everything, you would do everything, and you would really not have anything that you're holding on to. Yeah, so let me stop there. Over to you.
Cousins are on fire today.
I think honestly, KK, my cousin, beautiful, intelligent, wonderful, glorious.
Look at you.
She said it all. But I'll only add one thing, and that is the fact of having an accountability partner. It helps. All the things that KK has said, sums it up. But when you also have someone that helps you, that's why I call the person an accountability partner. And that's someone that is like your, I don't want to say the person like your brain box, the person like your partner, the person like your co-founder, also helps hold you to that thing and say, why do you want to take this thing? But this thing is just going to be a distraction to us. This thing is, how is it going to help us, with our goal? That is one thing that, for me, has also helped, in terms of minimizing distraction. So when I go all excited to present the idea, they're looking at me and like, why are we doing this? How is this helping us with our goals? Why do you want us to do this? I think this is a distraction. And I think that constantly reviewing your goals, constantly, stopping to take stock, that something like that. Either you do it on a monthly basis, you do it on a quarterly basis, to ask yourself what has worked, what are the things that have helped me move towards my goals, and what are the things that are not helping me towards goals. What are the things that I need to start? What are the things I need to stop doing? And I think that really works, because I find that works a lot for me. So when I go back, we are looking at it and say, oh, we did all this. Was this thing effective? Was it effective in what I thought would help us move towards, or was it just distraction that it was that I didn't initially identify? But it was that. I think that constantly reviewing your goals, reviewing your targets is very important, and having an accountability partner, someone that knows where you're going, and then is able to tell you, but is this should you be doing this?
Relevant.
You mentioned, Titi, you mentioned having an accountability partner. We normally hear that most times, but how do one get towards getting an accountability partner? Is the accountability partner the same thing as a mentor? If no, how do you engage? What's the KPI? What's the modus operandi of having an accountability partner? How are you sure that the vulnerability does not put you to a place of extinction, does not place you to a position of hurt? So I want answers from you guys. Having an accountability partner.
Mm. Mm. So let me go first. Before Titi will come and just scatter the table. So for me, right, what I've done is, first of all, I've told myself, first of all, that because these people are your accountability partners, you have to listen. So that's the first thing for me. I need to listen to my accountability partners. Now, how did I go about it? I took up those big goals that I have and I actually broke them into areas. So let me use my school as an example. For the school, I have accountability partners in terms of curriculum and standards. I have accountability people in terms of accounts. For accounts, look, that thing is horrible for me, because once I see something, hey, I'm like, this thing is going to work in the classroom. We need to buy it. And then the accountant would say, or even the account assistant, well, Ms. Keke, for this week, this is our budget. Where do you want us to put it? They've not said no to me, but they'll ask me, so ma, where should we plug it in? I'll say, hey, bring it, let me see. I was okay, can we push it to next month? What that does is, by next month, I might have found out that we didn't really need it. But at that point in time, if I didn't have those checks, because that's what an accountability partner does. It's almost like your conscience that give putting checks in place. There are roadblocks that say, you know what, must you do this right now? Go and take a second look at it. Let's look at this thing together. Is it really going to work? They also push me ahead. So some of them, for example, when I've set out, if I'm doing a project, I let them know my project, I let them know my timelines. Because I get caught up in work, so I'm being very practical here. Because I get caught up in work, I might tend to overdo something and forget some other areas. So what they do is that they put me on track. They're like, Ms. Keke, okay, you said you were not doing this thing, but I've noticed you haven't spent a lot of time. And now these are my staff that I'm talking about, people who are meant to be my subordinates. But then there's also a place where I have accountability partners, even in the family. So I have sisters, I have my brothers, I have some friends who, once I mention some certain things to them, like, no, they call me up and say, okay, I've noticed that I've been seeing a lot of you in this area. What's going on? How does that align with your goal? Keke, I noticed your Instagram DP. I noticed your WhatsApp status. What's going on? You know, so they actually almost put me on the straight and narrow path. And it has really helped me, because sometimes, even before I do something, I have to think about it. So let me end with an example my mom gave us. So when we got into the university, of course, university, you just want to have fun, sha. And my mother said to us, she says, if wherever you were doing whatever it is that you were doing, or going wherever it is that you were going, if a window suddenly opened up in the house and I could see through that window at what you were doing and why you were doing it, would you keep doing it? You know, and until now, many years later, I keep thinking and remembering that conversation that I had with her, and it kind of helps me reset my brain. Yeah, so that's kind of how I see accountability partners. They help you reset your brain, but no matter who the accountability partner is, if you've said to yourself, I don't care what you're going to say, the person will not be effective, which is why I started from the mindset at the beginning. You must be in that space where you tell yourself, I am going to listen, and then you stick with it and give them enough authority, I think, is the word that I would choose, to actually stop you when you keep wanting to bulldoze your way through. Okay, let me hand over to Cos. Meanwhile, Mr. Rotimi has disappeared.
Don't mind me, sir. Honestly, Keke, I like what you said, whereby, you know, to everyone listening out there, your accountability partners are also in your structure. You know, when you empower your staff to be your accountability partner, and that starts one with always sharing your goals and targets with them, then creating an environment for open and honest feedback. Because when you have an environment where your staff can give you feedback and they can tell you, oh, but Ma, like the example you gave with your accountant, how does this align with our goal? How does it work? It provides you the check and the accountability that you need, and I think it's important. So for anybody that's out there listening that is a business owner, the first thing I would say is have structure in your business that kind of dovetails everything down so that people can give you and push do like push back in terms of where we want to go. So if you say this is where we want to go this year, this is what we want to do, your staff and members of your team can be members of be your accountability partners because you've created that structure. Remember that the structure starts with one, defining the overall goal, defining the target, and making sure that there's open feedback. You're carrying everybody along. So I like that. I think that's very important. I also like what you said about the fact that your family members too, when they know where you are going, because your family members, your friends, once they know your goals, they too can help you be an accountability partner. So it's important that you have as many people that know where you are going, can guide you, can help you. And what I find out about with accountability partners that are your family, that when they hear and see opportunities, they keep forwarding it to you because they know that that's where you're going.
Yes.
And I don't know whether it was I think it was on the Good Morning Show where I encourage people, let as many people as possible know where you are going, because you find out that they become signposts on the journey, signposts both to direct you, signposts to point you, as well as help you on your journey. They can also be distractions because suddenly some people you can't filter, they'll be seeing everything. But I find that my family are very good accountability partners. So when we meet, they're asking you, how far with this? What have you done? And and you can say, I've not done anything since the last time we spoke. So family can be good accountability partners. If you have a co-founder, you are all accountability partners for yourself. And if you need a mentor, for some people you need a mentor, some people need a coach to help with that, being that accountability partner. But I think whatever direction you choose, whether it's formal or informal, my advice is that you need to get someone that holds you accountable, someone that is ensuring and helping you along in your goals. Safety Chick, good morning.
Yay!
Good morning, Mrs. Adeosi. Good morning, Mrs. Ajay. Good morning, Mr. Ritimi.
What's still not seeing your face, Ugochi?
I showed my face on Wednesday.
Oh no! I didn't come in on Wednesday.
What did you say, Mr. Ritimi?
Oh, I guess where he is, the network because of driving.
Yeah, he's
needs
on
to
the
keep
road.
fluctuating.
Oh, okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
I can hear you now.
Okay, so I have a question. Welcome to the show. We are talking about and KK and Titi have really done justice to the topic, and some of the things they said is leading to the question I want to ask. Now, how can one who has not been subjecting himself to accountability, or better still, one who is not used to those kind of things, how can that person get to disable themselves from making unilateral decisions themselves? Imagine you've always been the one sorting yourself, motivating yourself, clarifying yourself, getting clarity yourself. How do you disable yourself from that mode?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think that you can totally disable yourself. The only thing, what I think is you should just, should I say, expand your mind to accept external help. And the way to do that is by, retraining your mind, by making it a part of your plan. When you make it a part of your plan, so for example, I know that when I am planning for the week, I have a book where I write all the several things I want to do, and then the night before the next day, I prioritize what are the top things I want to do, number one, number two, number three. So somebody like that now, you can prioritize those kinds of relationship into your schedule. When you make it a part of your schedule, it makes it easy. So for example, if you're saying, okay, I will take this course, or I'll call Mr. Rotimi, or I would meet so and so coach, or I have a strategy session with so and so person. When you make it a part of your plan, it just comes to the front of your mind. Okay, this is what one of the things I'm supposed to do. Because I think it's also an advantage that sometimes you can do some things by yourself. Because the truth is, even when you work with others, the value of what others would do for you is very effective when you two can you are self-managed basically, and you can take decisions by yourself. So I don't think it will be a function of totally disabling your self-leadership. It will just be infusing these other new things into your schedules, your daily and your weekly schedule, so that you are conscious of the fact that this needs to be done because I need it for where I am going. So once you're able to do that, so for example, I'm supposed to speak with so and so mentor every day in the week, or maybe once a week, and it's part of your schedule, whether you want to or not, because it's part of the schedule, you make time for it. That's what I think.
Yeah. Fantastic. KK, you want to say something as well?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% I agree with Ochi, because the need for an accountability partner is to keep you accountable, right? But it doesn't mean that your brain is on freeze. So I don't believe that we should. Sorry, I don't believe that we should freeze our brains and our heads. There was something Mrs. Adewusi said. Why am I calling her Mrs. Adewusi like Ugochi? There's something Titi said. She talks about the need for open feedback. And that place of open feedback is where your accountability partners come in. So you set the goal, you have a target now, and you're looking for that open feedback. So of course, if you are accountable, they're going to say, this doesn't work, or the way you did this didn't quite work. Do you want to take a look at it? And you must be open to receiving that feedback, and taking it back in, turning it around in yourself and saying, how can I make this work? Because nobody truly has your big picture. It's yours, right? So if I take their feedback and now make it my big picture, or my Bible, really, then I'm going to have a problem, because it's not sustainable. It's not mine. So you still, as a matter of fact, you need to still have your functional capabilities working full time. You just need to be able to take from all the other people and put it in the mix. If it doesn't work for you, spit out the sticks. For example, there was a book I was reading that said, learn how to chew the hay and spit out the sticks. There's always sticks inside you. So you need to learn how to spit it out, and then just keep going and keep growing. So that's what I wanted to add to that conversation.
Fantastic. And so it's mentioned, I think, yes, it was Titi that mentioned it, that you can actually have to choose to get a coach or you get a mentor. So I need to ask the question, can you have both? And if yes, what exactly is the role of a coach? What exactly is the role of a mentor? How can we work and cohabit with those two roles in our pursuits, especially talking about our targets? Where does the coach come in? What's the role of the mentor? Titi, please.
Rotimi, I thought this was your area, this coach and mentor thing. I want to just add from the last question. When KK started, KK said that it's a thing of mindset. This accountability factor is a thing of mindset. Mindset in the sense that you yourself must see the need, must realize the need, and be accepting of the need of someone else to help on the journey. I'm a strong believer in that. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, if you want to go further, then you need people. And so you have to always start with that mindset. And that's simple safety chick said. You need that mindset. You need that mindset to say, I need people. Not that I'm not competent, but I need people to see some angles that I might not, and to complement. When it comes to coach and mentors, honestly, people use this thing interchangeably, and I always look at them as, different things. I look at a coach more as someone that is focused more on the person might not necessarily have walked the same path with you. The person might not necessarily have, what I mean, walked the same path. The one you are an educator. A coach doesn't necessarily need education to be your coach, to help and guide you and help you to navigate. But typically with a mentor is typically someone that kind of has walked that same route, successful in it, and then the person can provide more of technical, insight and guidance. That's how I always define it. I don't know whether it's really the right definition. And both of them can be accountability partners for you, but that's my own definition of coach and mentor. I don't know, people might have different definitions, but that's how I look at it.
Okay, let me just add to that since you called me out. A lot of times, when we really look at the impact and the place of mentors or mentorship, we must see that mentorship or mentors, they come in different ways. So there's the person of the mentor, which means you have a person or you have people who, one way or the other, play not just a role model role, but an advisory form of engagement with you. Now, there is also the process of mentorship, which sometimes is where you see people get applied in their person based on the things they submit themselves to. And one of the best ways you see informal and formal mentorship is the apprenticeship method or the internship and voluntary method. So what happens is that you are immersed into a process, not just a person. And therefore, things are modeled before you, and then you get clarity, you get the idea, you find your way, and you find your space. But another side of it, which a lot of us do, but we are not conscious and aware of, is the place of project and projection, where you don't just have the person, you don't just have the process, but this time around, you are embarking on the journey. So the journey itself, it's a mentoring and mentorship experience for you, especially for those who go on roads that has never been traveled before. People who do things that has never been done before. You find out that the execution itself becomes the mentoring for you, where you've resigned to fate that if it's going to be, then it's up to you. But we sometimes mix the principles of all these options and then we use them as quotes, but we don't follow them along their rudiments. So sometimes that's what happens. So mentoring and mentorship can come in a person or in people. It can come through the process, and then you can also embark on projects where you eventually find yourself into mentoring. Does that help, Titi?
Yes, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So now I will stop.
Ask you a question.
Yes, please ask your question. Are you asking me the question?
I'm asking everyone, and my question is, each person's, a personal question. At what point in time, or at what situation did you find that you needed a mentor or a coach? And how did you go about, getting one? So I think that's it. That's the question I wanted to ask, because I'm just thinking, if I'm in the audience listening to this, that would be my question, to say, at what point did you realize you needed one, and how did you go about getting one? Rotimi, we can start with you and then go.
I just was waiting for that. I knew. I knew that it was coming for me. Okay, he will fight and run. We live to fight another day and win. All right. At what point? I would say that it's not just what one point. I'll tell you the different points. So number one, there was a time where I found out that I had this insatiable hunger. And of course, when that started driving me, I was feeling a lot restless. So I knew that I had a lot to offer. I had a lot of energy available, and I can't afford to risk it not being expressed and expressed in the right way. And so naturally, I gravitated to looking for mentors and mentorship. I took up things regardless of the kind of rewards in it. So for me, I use the three options. I use persons and people, I use the process, and I started projects. Um, and it was like blind faith for me. But then that was that. Then another part of it was um, I had concerns and I felt troubled when midway into doing some of the things I do. I just felt that results that I was looking for, vis-a-vis the visioning that I had, there was a big disparity. And I wanted to also be sure that it wasn't just that I was just coasting and having child's play. So at the place of confirmation, I had to also, not necessarily validation, but confirmation. I had to look for some level of mentorship. And I was thankful for the fact that I think that has been the only period where I had to stop being invincible and become vulnerable. I answered questions that I would naturally and literally be asked or answer, you know. And it was quite helpful. And of course, from there, I turned it from not asking questions for answers. I turned it to renewal process, whereby formally and informally it happens in between sometimes a year or in between periods where we start from conversation, and then from conversation we start digging deep. So it's no longer a formal process now. It's just almost like a timeout experience. And sometimes you'll be shocked that having done that for some years now, I have now translated that to all my friendships. So especially people that I owe there or I feel that they have value. So I put that integration into them. So sometimes I just want to have a conversation, or sometimes I just want to listen to you do something or watch you talk. So I do a lot of character study. For the past 3 years, I've been doing what I call character study, and that has been helping me in the place of mentorship. So I've studied KK, but KK did not know. Um, I've studied TT as well. I've studied some of my mentees as well. Yeah, but we're not talking about that today. So what I've found out that character study, I've done that. I use historical figures. So in doing that, I studied the life of Hitler. I studied the life of Moses. People that missed it in leadership, that had gaps in leadership. So some of the teachings that I have, and there are some leadership series that I've developed. Some I've not even shared, were from the character studies. So I don't just come up with sweet words. I look at life and the reality of people. What were the gaps? What were the struggles? Who were the leaders that were seers, that were seekers? Who were the leaders that raised people, that nurtured people, who missed their mandate? So those things now have become a system that is automated. So it's like a self-paced course for me now. So sometimes when Titi calls me and we're talking, I'm always excited. I'm always eager to hear what she has to say and to think about it. Why did that thought come about? Sometimes I'm talking to a 7-year-old. I'm talking to a 10-year-old. I'm talking to anybody, and I just love to learn, not because learning is sweet, but because I've conditioned my mind that that's the process to go. Because some of the people that I really consider full-fledged mentors, they are not always accessible that way. So sometimes conversations are the best way to elicit information from them.
Wow, Rotimi, that's really powerful. That's really powerful. Awesome. Safety
Thank
Chief,
you.
we love to hear from you. Is she there?
Wow.
Yes, she's there.
Safety chick is writing in her is writing
Okay,
in her.
so at what point did I know that I needed a mentor or a coach?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was when I realized I needed knowledge in a particular area, coach. So I started business because I had passion and all that. And then in the course of doing it, I realized that passion is not enough. And I didn't know how to make the transition. So I looked around and I saw someone on Instagram, and then I asked questions, and then I had to enroll in a course. And from there, that now became the system for me to learn. So when I know that I need knowledge and I don't know anything about it, so I'd look for a coach in that area and then get close. Then also that thing that how I knew that I needed a mentor was when God started to show me what I look like in his eyes. And I'm like, this is not possible. It's not possible that there is a human being that can do. Also, he showed me prototypes. He showed me human beings that were actually doing it and said, that is what they are doing. So that now helped me see that, okay, it wasn't as if he was asking me something that was impossible. And that helped me see that sometimes the reason you need mentors is your it's either you need new knowledge or you need to evolve into a new role, into a new process, and you need somebody that has already walked that path so that you are able to, it shortens your learning curve, and then you're able to learn from them. So for me, I think that if anybody is wondering at what point do I get a coach or mentor, you need to start from where are you right now? What exactly do you need in your life right now? Your need determines it. If you're at a point in your life where you're trying to make your marriage work, and for some reason the demands of life, the pressures of Lagos is not allowing it to work, but you know that there are actually marriages in this Lagos that are working, then you need to look around whose marriage in this Lagos is working despite busy schedules and that has similar responsibilities as you do, and then get close if they have coaching programs or mentor. And again, I think I should point out that many times people think mentorship is only when you are chummy with the mentor. You guys are always on phone calls. It doesn't necessarily work that way. It could be that you are reading the person's books, you're watching the person's videos, but basically you're gleaning from the person's personal experiences to guide you on your own path. So really find out first, what is that thing that you're trying to achieve? Is it new knowledge? Is it managing a particular area of your life? Is it morphing into a new role? And then now that determines whether it's going to be a coach or a mentor. Many times mentorship is almost longer term. Coaching might just be for a particular area. Once that's done, it's done. So for example, somebody wants to become better in terms of should I say finances, financial literacy. So you get a coach, a money coach for 6 months, and you learn the ropes, and you know that, okay, you can make better decisions going forward. But from time to time, of course, you can, if it's a friendly relationship, you can get back in touch with your coach, but it's not as if the coach will be there day in, day out, something like that. So yes, that's what I think. When you decide you need new knowledge, when you want to morph into a new role.
Awesome, Safety Chick. Awesome. I really like what you said. Having a coach or a mentor is not about being chummy with the person. And I think Rotimi said the same thing. Sometimes it's a character study. Sometimes it's enrolling for their course. Sometimes it's reading the books. So it's sometimes just doing research. I like that. People need to know that it's not that I have personal one-on-one contact, because sometimes these people are very busy people that you really want. You might not even be able to access them, but you can access them through their podcast, through their books, through their training sessions. That I think that is awesome for anyone listening out there. Marcus, it's your turn. Marcus.
I don't know what to say. Titi, between Rotimi and Safety Chick, I think they've said it all in totality. So I'm here, just here, eating plantain chips and just listening and writing, because it's been amazing listening to both of them, honestly. I mean, for me, to be honest, how did I know when did I know I needed a coach? So I've always had the thought that a workplace shouldn't be a war zone. It's a workplace. It's a place where you spend a lot of time with people, and it should be friendly, it should be comfortable. So I started to look around me, and I couldn't really find an example for somebody who understood that my leadership philosophy. And I found Richard Branson, who I've never met. I don't know if we're ever going to meet, But then in studying him, in listening to him speak, in reading some of his books, in watching some of his videos, I began to understand that, yeah, this is what I want. This is what is possible. And I started to fashion my own workplace around his values and my values, of course. But I like that. And that for me. So he's like my veteran who I've never met and I've never seen, because he met a need that I had at a particular point in time when I was creating structure around a workplace, So yeah, I agree with Safety Chick and Rotimi. And I would just add that it starts with your mind. If you don't believe that you need something or you believe you can do it all, then you're never going to reach out. You're never going to be vulnerable enough to let somebody else, lead you to a place where you can eventually become the master at it. Yeah. So, be vulnerable enough to just open up yourself to that kind of growth process.
Thank you, KK. Back to you, Rotimi Eyitayo.
Titi, you need to say yours now.
No, I'm like KK.
Titi,
everybody
you need
has
to
said
say
it
yours.
all.
You can't run away now.
No. I think everybody has said it all. There's nothing to add. That's what KK said, and that's what I stand by. I think you and Safety Chick just nailed it.
Politics, politics.
I think he just
Okay, so I just need to say this just so that, yeah, I need to add this, that regardless of the method that you are deploying towards getting your target, towards getting a coach or mentor, you need to find a way of turning it into a relationship. So if you're studying someone or something, if you want to use that methodology, you must make it relational to you. It's not a touch and go. If you are working with a coach, live sessions, book sessions, courses, you must create a relationship out of it. That is why it is going to internalize or get into you much more than just you got to interact and interface with it. So that's really what will help. We've said a lot today, and I believe that it's time to draw the curtains on that. So KK, any words? Last words, last shots.
If you're not looking at anything, then it will be difficult for you to go towards a certain direction. If you don't know where you're going, any boss would do. So you need to know exactly where you're going. What is this goal that I have? And what are the different steps that I need to take, targets, if you may, to get to that big, hairy, audacious goal, and just stick with it. Be disciplined enough to stick with it. And if you find that you've made a mistake, be reflective. Did I really make a mistake? And if you did, then leave it and just keep going forward. I think those are my last words, really. Thank you.
Titi?
I think for me, to say have a target. If you don't have one, you get nowhere. You will achieve nothing. You will float. So always have a target. Every target in various areas of your life. If not, nothing gets done. Nothing gets achieved. No achievement. So you might be wondering why is it that some people are succeeding more than you. I think the simple answer might just be because they have targets. They have targets in various areas of their life, in their marriages, in their personal life, in their social life, in their spiritual life, in their health life, and in their workplace. Go set yourself a target. Have a way of reflecting on your goals and your targets, and have someone and a group of people really, or people that makes you accountable with regards to your target. Thank you.
Gochi?
Okay, so a friend of mine normally says, what gets scheduled gets done. So what gets targeted gets done. So make sure that you have your target. And when you have them, just begin to take gradual steps towards it.
Thank you so much. And I need us to understand, without a target, your pursuit and life can become a burden. But with a target, I can guarantee you are closer to a breakthrough. It's been a great time listening to you, sharing together, learning together, and I believe you have gained something today. Thank you to our analysts and experts. And I believe that you're going to have a great weekend. Make sure greatness is your target this weekend. And I'm sure we'll come back on Monday to celebrate together. Remember, this Sunday marks the fifth month anniversary of the Good Moon Education Show.
Wow.
We're 5 on Sunday, so maybe on Monday we'll have a post birthday celebration. All right, thank you so much,
You'll
everyone.
be sending cake to all of us, to all our
Yes.
various locations, so that when we are on the show, we'll be unveiling the cake
Yes,
to
sir.
the public.
Please, you have our
I will send the cake that you bake. I promise to send the one that you bake.
We'll bring out our cups, you know, with a slice of cake. Honestly, I'm in full support.
Yes.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Yeah.
This one,
See,
a lot of us will show our face.
biscuit you owe me. I permit you to share it to everyone.
This cake I want.
It's
And
cake.
also our faces. If you let me know that the cake is going to arrive, I will make sure that I can show my face, eating my cake, drinking with a lovely cup of coffee this on the morning. Rotimi, we expect you to make it happen. Thank you very much. And it's always a good morning on the Good Morning Education.
Good morning, education show.